This is the Hidden Leaf Village's handsome devil, Rock Lee, and you're watching Anime Egotists. After this, you can do 51 sit-ups or watch all 51 episodes of Rock Lee and his ninja pals. Rock Lee. Leaf Hurricane!
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where you definitely don't want us to be any mall Santas in any anime.
No.
Never. My name's Alex, and despite the fact that I've been drinking eggnog since October, I don't have a problem. The only problem is when I run out.
I never stopped drinking eggnog. I brew my own.
Good. Very good.
And I'm Richard.
That's right, and to start off, we first just want to say we hope you guys had a lovely Thanksgiving and just all your other festivities. Heck, Richard almost came over to my house for Thanksgiving, but that didn't completely go out. It would have been kind of like a crossover type thing, despite the fact we're on the same channel, so it's not really. But that we also start thinking, we love different types of anime, but we also love the idea of certain animes coming together.
Yeah, I mean, it could be from the same creator. It could be completely unrelated animes. We've seen some very interesting ones. I remember there's the One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, and I think it's Toriko.
Toriko, that's right. I was actually going to bring up Toriko. Was kind of introduction. But yeah, just anime characters interacting with each other, having fun with each other, or just being completely miserable about each other. So we start thinking, what are some crossovers in anime that we would enjoy?
Yeah, and I mean, as we've discussed on this, it could be the standard fighting animes that a lot of people watch, or just slice of life animes that make these kind of things interesting. So, do you want to start us off this time?
I do. You did a bad thing making me start first. So you are not going to believe this, my friend, but I have a fairy tale answer.
Okay.
And that is the crossover I want to see is between Fairy Tail and Black Clover.
Okay.
Okay, so Black Clover, the story about a kid named Asta and his, I guess, adopted brother, doing their best to become stronger and eventually become the Wizard King. Fairy Tail, a story about, I don't know, something Deus Ex Machina, Girl of the Week thing. But in all seriousness, they're both shows about magic, wizards, mages, and all that other stuff. So it'd be so I feel like in terms of power levels and everything, it'd be pretty easy to write them working together, maybe fighting against each other or sparring, just learning different lessons from each other, especially considering... Richard, let me ask you this. Are the female characters of Fairy Tail known to be written well, or am I thinking of somebody else?
They're written okay, I guess, is the best term. They do have a overarching stereotype usually attached with them. They are usually designed overly fan servicey, so they may not mesh well with the female characters from Black Clover that way. But
yes, but I guess my point being the females of Black Clover are probably everybody's favorite in terms of character development, writing, and all that other sorts of stuff. So maybe some of that could rub off onto certain characters in Fairy Tail. Hell, not to mention they could both make jokes about how their series was so hated for the longest time, and now people have grown to love them. But just that sort of thing. I feel like it's a fairly simple crossover they could do.
Yeah, and the magic is actually quite different between the two series, but it would be very interesting to watch like them try to teach each other how to use the other side's magic. Like in Fairy Tail, there's no books, so they're tossing the grimoires away and saying, "Here, do this," and then they're like, no, use the grimoire, it'll make you more powerful or something.
Hey, Asa, you try using this magic. Can we just use the books, please? Just basically that sort of thing. Plus, despite the fact I'm not necessarily that huge on Funimation anymore, they're all still dubbed, but they're all dubbed by the same people, aren't they?
I don't remember if Fairy Tail was a Funimation dub or not, but I
feel like I've heard of it.
It probably was.
At least has a lot of the same voice actors and everything, so it could be easy to get done. But Fairy Tail and Black Clover, or I could have said other stuff with Black Clover, but I just picked Fairy Tail because I thought that'd be an interesting starting point, at least from my side.
Yeah, no, I can agree. That would be an interesting, fun, non-canon episode for either series. All
Yeah,
right.
but that's my first pick.
All right. So my first one, let's see. I'm gonna go with let's One Piece and Naruto.
All right, I was kind of expecting that.
The main reason I selected these two was because their power scaling is similar when compared to other anime, I would say at this of the same style. They, how to put it, there's powers. Some people have access to certain special abilities, and whether it's the devil fruit or Kekai Genkai. Um, but like when you think about Dragon Ball, the fighting style is just way different by comparison, I think. But in One Piece, it's and Naruto, it seems very similar. So I think that they could do a lot of interesting action fighting. The characters have very serious moments, but then are also the shows overall are a bit more comedic. So I think they could play off each other really well.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like Luffy and Naruto in particular would probably get along really well because they both basically have moments of them being similar. Not to mention with One Piece just having its 1000th episode, Naruto. Oh, I feel like it's had 1000 episodes at this point if you just encompass everything. And
Probably.
it'd be a good way to celebrate both series in some sense. Not to mention, they both have theme songs that make fans go, "What the hell did I just listen to?" With the One Piece rap and the Naruto German opening.
So it'd be a matchup of those two together for the
Yeah,
opening of the special.
yes, yes. We could find a way to make both of those theme songs somehow even better. But in all honesty, yes, I would like to see that. I guess one of the things for me is I'd like to see. I don't remember it specifically. I think his name was. Who's the samurai guy in Naruto?
Oh god, the are you talking about
The dude
the
with the bandages all over his head. The one who Jabari really likes playing as.
I remember who you're talking about. He's the leader of the Land of Samurai, Land of Iron or whatever it's called
Yeah.
from there. But he's the mediator for the uh Five Kage Summit in the anime.
Yeah, I want him versus Zoro. Not necessarily a battle to the death, but more just like, hey, I respect you. Let's do this.
That could be interesting. But yeah, like it would also be funny. Like I could see Guy versus Sanji in a like kicking battle of some kind
Yeah.
because
Mifune was his name. Mifune was the samurai.
yeah. So yeah, I just think the characters could play really well off each other. I don't think there's been a crossover between these two anime besides maybe like a short commercial for Shonen at one point. So something with these two animes where they maybe they fight a little bit or they're something just something fun. I think
Yeah,
would be best for this.
I bet Sanji's ramen would be amazing.
That could also be interesting. Him versus the owner of Ichiraku.
Yeah, and Naruto has to pick a side. Yeah, but that would be cool. All right, so my next one.
Go right ahead.
Okay, talked about that one. All right, here we go. Oh, we haven't really talked about this show at all on a podcast, so I kind of wanted to bring it up. Haruhi Suzumiya and Lucky Man.
Okay.
All right, so on the surface, Haruhi Suzumiya seems like a show that should be that seems like it should be normal. But the main character, or I guess the titular character, she kind of just wants to know like everything bizarre. Like she wants to learn about time travelers and aliens and all that other sorts of stuff. And Lucky Man is pretty much that. He's a guy who relies on the power of luck and he fights aliens and stuff like that. I just think the interactions between the two cats would be really interesting, particularly Keon on Haruhi's side because he's basically just doesn't want a whole lot to do with anything. He kind of wants to just live a normal life and all that other sorts of stuff. Basically, it would be kind of perfect for both worlds because they both have supernatural elements to each other. With Lucky Man going a little more into the goofy side of things, while Haruhi's group kind of gets a little more serious sometimes. Not always in a good way, but it would make a good contrast of styles.
I really don't know the animes well enough to actually judge this one. So
Oh goodness gracious.
I mean, I know about the little supernatural elements involved, but that's about it. So I guess I would agree. I can't
Yeah, but
say.
plus it would provide more fillers, so we don't get the same endless 8 episodes we got in Heart, because those are genuinely awful. We would have put that on our worst anime episodes list, but it's far too easy.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the one that like the entire second season's like
Yeah,
the same. Okay,
yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay.
yeah. Plus, it would finally get the chance for Haruhi's show to come back because everybody apparently wants it back for some reason. So I could have said other stuff for her, but other stuff to go with Haruhi Suzumiya, but I'm saving those for other picks on my list.
Okay. So my next one is kind of an interesting one. I want to see what you think about this one.
Oh,
I don't know if you've
this
seen
should be
either
good.
series.
This should be good.
It's Food Wars and Dr. Stone.
I know Food Wars a little bit, Dr. Stone not as much.
So Dr. Stone, for those that don't know, everybody in the world gets petrified and then they wake up and it's been thousands of years, so all of civilization's pretty much gone. And it's very much science will save the day. And they do all these different things. And I just think it would be a really funny mashup if they woke up, ran people that were Food Wars characters, and they're trying to make these gourmet meals for people who they used to eat boiled potatoes without any condiments and other things like that. Not just the food was very plain, but comparison that for the few people who were outside.
You know, with you talking about potatoes and just how plain they were, I'm reminded of that Archer quote, and I think you know exactly the one I'm talking about. Not going to repeat it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think so. But I just think that this could be interesting because they both enter this kind of weird mindset at different points in the series. And Dr. Stone, he explains his science and like everything. And in Food Wars, they explain what they're making and they go into such detail, unless it's something for Dr. Stone that's like, we're making dynamite. Here's how redacted.
Yeah, I think that could work. I think both styles of it could work. Like I said, I don't know Doctor Stone too well. I almost said Doctor Strange for a second. That's totally different. But I think it could work just based on the ways of how do we build everything, how do we make anything. Not to mention, and some of the moments with Food Wars or and just how people react to eating foods could be pretty hilarious in Doctor Stone form.
It really could, I think that, and the animations aren't necessarily similar, but I think could play well off each other, or if they change the characters to match.
Yeah. All right. So my next one.
Go right ahead.
All right, you don't know either of these shows, but let me put it to you this way: I've talked about both shows enough that you have somewhat of an idea of what I'm talking about, and that
Okay.
is Watamote and Love Chunibyo. First of all, part of me hesitated with this because Love Chunibyo's second season was just so terrible, was just so uninteresting that I still think you should give the show a chance because of what we've talked about before. But I guess the thing for me is, despite the fact that the friends in Love Chinibyo are kind of hard on each other, they do make each other better people, despite their weird, obsessive imaginations. And I've talked about Watamote. Tomoko is super lonely and she doesn't have a whole lot of friends, unless you read the manga. So I feel like they do a good job of bringing her out of her shell and just, she has a lot of moments where she fantasizes about, I can be this total badass with all these superpowers and everything. So I think both of their sense of humors would work well and just bring back Watamote for a second season because despite how cringeworthy and bad it can be sometimes, it is a solid series. But just them bringing her out of her shell could be cool. And there are a lot of moments and scenes where they have fantasies, where they swing weapons at each other and like just blow up buildings and everything like that. I think it could be a pretty interesting mashup.
Yeah, from your descriptions of the shows and the little bits I've seen of Watamote, I think it would be, and that could be interesting. And it does kind of, I hate to say it though, they could do it as her own fantasy.
Yeah. And then she wakes up and she's like, and everyone's like, you okay? And she just shrinks back down. I'm like, hey. We all saw that. You're improving. We're so proud of you. But even then, even if it's just a fantasy in her head with all that stuff, she could still find a way to use that to translate and make her confidence better. Not to mention the straight man Yuta and Love Chunibyo would just have a headache over somebody immediately showing up and be like, "Oh, I understand all your powers and everything you do," and you'd be like, "No, you're supposed to be the normal one, but I give up. Go." Oh, but overall, I think it would be solid, even though I'm not begging for more Love Chunibyo content because it made me sad sometimes and not in a good way.
Okay. Yeah, but I'll co-sign onto that one. It seems like it could be an interesting concept.
Sure. Anyways, what's your next one?
All right. My next one, this one actually is a weird one because now one of these animes are supposedly coming back. It's Demon Slayer and Bleach.
Huh. Okay.
So when Bleach has its, I guess, higher quality episodes, the animation gets closer to Demon Slayer's, and I guess quality is the best word for it. But again, they're both about people who use swords and fighting and going after this other other style of how to put it, creatures, the hollows in Bleach and the demons in Demon Slayer.
Right.
It'd be interesting to see, like, it might have to be like the not the main characters from Bleach, but like the current captains and stuff from that series meet up with a hollowified demon or something from Demon Slayer, and that way they have to team up with the Demon Slayers of the past to fight it. So it would just be kind of an interesting thing. I could see them doing it, just especially if I think both are shonen anime. So them to kind of advertise that Bleach is coming back for to end the series, partnering them with one of their more popular series right now in Demon Slayer. So
Yeah, I guess I could kind of understand that. But part of the one issue I have, and it's not even with anything you described of the special itself, but when you said something along the lines of, "Oh, well, it can kind of have Demon Slayer reintroduce Bleach back into it," there would be people being like, "Oh, Bleach needs Demon Slayer's help." I'm like, y'all don't know what Bleach is, do you? Y'all don't know how popular Bleach is, do you? It does not need Demon Slayer. This is simply just a crossover because you know how weird people can get about that.
yeah, I mean, I knew people when Bleach was finishing airing, it didn't end on the best note, just due to the fact that the Fullbring arc isn't considered the best arc in the series.
Well, most anime doesn't end on
True.
the best of notes anyway. That's another topic for another day.
But there was a whole nother arc that was being written that they never bothered to finish until apparently that's coming out, I think, next year sometime. They're going to start releasing the episodes for the final arc. But it's one of those that people were still pissed that it wasn't announced that it was a hiatus. It was the show is ended when Bleach was canceled. So yeah, it was a big deal when it ended officially.
Yeah. Well, it was, but like, just that's such a small tangent, though. If anything, I'll just stay off Twitter when that crossover comes out.
But again, I think bringing back a very popular show from the past and then partnering it with one of the modern ones would be interesting. They have similar styles, so I think they could work off of each other.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm really liking all of our answers so far. There's good variety. Okay,
Right.
so it's two more and then honorable mentions?
No, I think one more. Yeah, one more, and then honorable mentions. That was my third.
Wait, okay, hold on. One, two, three. Shoot, I have too many. I'll just say I have four honorable mentions. I am sorry. I miscounted. I apologize.
My turn to be angry at you.
Hey. One of my honorable mentions is very quick, so I don't mind. Anyways, my next one.
Okay.
Zatch Bell and Soul Eater. Two shows that should not have ended the way they ended, at least over here in America. Basically, The way I see it is Zatch Bell is all about you and your like the partners and their Momotos being in complete sync and finding ways to work off each other. Meanwhile, Soul Eater's kind of the same thing, except it's a little, the partner is a little more proactive with their weapon partner, the Soul Meister and their weapon. Basically, it would be a cool way of showing the two learning from each other and kind of building off of each other in some senses. Kind of showing that the humans in Zatch Bell aren't just people who spout off the names of the spells and everything like that. It would be a nice way to kind of reintroduce them. Plus, they both have similar senses of humor. Soul Eater's being a little darker and a little more mature, but it could still work. And once again, both of these shows should still be on the air, in my opinion, or at least have finished properly.
And I will 100% agree with this one. I'd be interested to see the animation style because they're so different with Soul Eater being so much more cartoony style, I would say, and Zatch Bell having, I guess, more realistic is the right term.
In a weird way, yeah.
The characters themselves look more like humans than the other ones, despite them all being humans. I just think that.
Yeah, not to mention the singing sword Excalibur can be put in his place by Concha Man Fulgore as to how real people sing and dance in battle.
He would turn out to be a fan of Fulgore or something.
Well, shouldn't everybody be?
Yes, they should.
Yeah, but overall, that's kind of Soul Eater, Zatch Bell. It'd be a good way to kind of honor both shows and then bring them both back. And I know there's a much more obvious choice that Soul Eater could have been with. It's based on on what the creator is also doing, but I just decided that'd be too easy. So that's mine, and I've gotten rid of my other honorable mentions, so I'm back down to 3 because one of them it was more of a gag answer.
Okay, I mean, if you want to say it anyway, when we
we'll get to that later. But just say your next one.
All right, so my next one, I don't know how I would want them to do this one. It's Space Battleship Yamato and The Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Okay, that's not all right. You're gonna have to do most of the talking for that one.
So both are, of course, space-based anime. The Legend of Galactic Heroes is more of a story of almost like a chess match between the character from the Empire and the character from the Republic. And Space Battleship Yamato is always about saving Earth. I don't know if it would be like Space Battleship Yamato takes place in the past, and then The Legend of the Galactic Heroes is the future at this point in the same universe, different universes. The issue I have is that the way technology works doesn't quite match. They have the original versions of these shows, I think, were very similar when they came to like their spaceship designs. They have that, if you go back and look up, I think it's 70s and 80s anime spaceships, you see kind of the same style between all different anime. Even like I think Gundam kind of has the same ship design that kind of looks like a beetle in space. So if you go back to the classic versions of the show, maybe you could cross over via the animation there. The newer versions of the show have a bit different look to them, a bit more, obviously more modern. It could be that they just cross paths. It would be kind of interesting. Just Space Battleship Yamato lands in the middle of a battle. It's like they have to figure out which side to support for this battle, and then they go on their way. It could just be something as simple as that.
Yeah. Didn't you tell me at one point in one of these shows there's a guy in red gear and the guy in blue gear and the guy... Didn't you tell me that for one of these shows, or am I thinking of Star Blazers?
Well, that Star Blazers is Space Battleship Yamato.
Okay, yeah, so there.
Yeah, they have their uniforms are kind of like an arrow going up and down, and then it's a symbol kind of like that.
So basically, and plus, if they did team up, they could do the Power Rangers logic of, well, we can't beat this enemy altogether, so we have to combine all of our ships, and it just turns into one giant Megazord. That would be the Power Rangers fan in me would be having a stroke over that, but it would be completely worth it.
and that's actually quite possible due to Super Sentai being a thing.
Yeah, that is correct. But that's all I really have to add. I co-sign on to that. Okay, so one more and then honorable mentions.
No, this is honorable mentions now.
Son of a bit. I can't talk right now. Okay, so okay, yeah, you're right. I understand what you mean. All right, we're good. Okay, so you go first with your honorable mentions.
All right. So this one's only an honorable mention because it's kind of already happened, and I expect there to actually be a special involved. And that this is my fairy tale one with Eden Zero, the new anime by the same it's by the same guy.
Wait, it's not the same show?
No. It's
Huh.
Eden Zero is a sci-fi based show, but it wouldn't surprise me. They've already done a crossover with his show before Fairy Tale. It was Rave Masters and Fairy Tale crossed over early on in Fairy Tale.
Okay.
So I could see a special between Eden Zero and Fairy Tale. Just it would be a one-off. The Eden Zero crew lands on the planet that Fairy Tale takes place on. They've already kind of crossed over because in the background you see Natsu and Lucy in like episode 3. They're literally like they say, "Oh yeah, I used to watch the show," and then the characters literally walk through the back as they describe Fairy Tale.
Huh, man, they do not get recognized in public. That is sad. But yeah,
Yeah,
I guess I can co-sign on to that.
but yeah, it's just an honorable mention because I expect it's already kind of happened, and I expect it to eventually get a special.
Yeah. But I finally have my list together. That was a nightmare.
All right, so what's your first honorable mention?
You said you had 2 honorable mentions and I had 4, so I can do 2 and then you can do 1, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
All right, so the one I just kind of want to get out there and throw out the way is, and this could be any of the series, Mega Man, any Mega Man series, and the show Chobits. I've talked. We most of you guys know about Mega Man. Technology is like super advanced there, and people can go into machines and do all this other sorts of stuff. And Chobits is like I've talked about it before. It's a show about these things called Persicons, which are robots, basically androids that can do pretty much anything. The internet, go on the internet, send email, all this other sorts of stuff. The technology aspect, they'd be able to play off each other really well. They could borrow moments from each other. Plus, there's specifically an episode in Chobits where the characters go inside of a video game, which is basically what they do in Mega Man. Plus, I'd want a scene with them competing against each other saying, yeah, but we can go inside refrigerators, video games, ovens, all this other sort of stuff. What have you guys done? It's like, we made robot husbandos and waifus, and they're like, damn it, you win. But that's basically it. That's real. Like I said, it's an honorable mention. It's kind of meant to be quick.
Yeah, I kind of understand that one. It could be NT Warrior or the Mega Man X or Mega Man Star Force. It could be any of them, really.
I'm so proud that you finally know Star Force. Anyways, so my other one, and then you could do your other one.
Yep.
All right, Saint Seiya and Yu-Gi-Oh! Primarily just because of not the Society of Light, the Waking the Dragons arc, or the Seal of Orichalcos arc, where Joey and Valen had that ridiculously stupid, and I'm going to put on this armor and we're going to start fighting each other, or duel against each other. As stupid as it was amazing, and they both looked like Saint Seiya characters. So it'd be kind of nice, specifically for those who join the Saint Seiya squad, with Seiya and Seiya, Shun, and all the others, and just it could lead to some pretty hilarious moments.
I could almost see them doing a Saint Seiya special where all the other Zodiac Warriors, I think is what they're called in English, are like lost, and then so it's Seiya and has to go out and he just grabs random characters from other anime. It could be all Yu-Gi-Oh, or it could be from other anime, and they get armor based on something from their show. So Yu-Gi-Oh, if it's all Yu-Gi-Oh, they just get a card from their deck. So just imagine Yu-Gi with the Dark Magician. That's his armor.
Yeah, plus they did that weird capsule special in season 5 where the monsters were beside them and everything. It would probably be a more entertaining version of that. Plus, I want Joey to get this power before Kaiba does, just so Joey can have a one-up against Kaiba. Like, yeah, but I'm dressed like a Red Eyes Black Dragon. What do you have, rich boy? And Kaiba's like... he's just frustrated by it all. But Saint Seiya and Yu-Gi-Oh! I just for that one little gag. That's all, really.
All right, all right. So this one is kind of a cop out, I would say. It's one I want to get your opinion about, though, for my honorable mention.
Sure.
And it's a shonen, either free for all or heroes versus villains.
Yeah, that is a little
So
bit of a cop out.
you literally just take it's, I guess, isn't it? There's a shonen battle anime or not battle battle game.
J
Um,
Stars
yeah,
and Jump Force, but I say J Stars because it's better.
but kind of like that. But you could throw in like all the heroes, all the villains, like the that Power Rangers special for, I think it was the 25th anniversary, where they
Yeah, except
brought back.
hopefully that would be better than this.
Yeah, just imagine though, you get all the big anime of the last, I guess, 30 years. So you have Bleach, Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, One Punch Man, Attack on Titan, Dragon Slayer, My Hero. You'd kind of have to even Dragon Slayer. Yeah, just a whole bunch of other anime that have powers and stuff. And I think the way I would want it to be, it would be somehow one of the villains is stealing all the villains to make a super team, and so the heroes have to do the same thing. So it could be like almost a movie of them all coming together to fight the bad guys.
Yeah, I'm completely okay with that as long as they get the characters' personality rights, because a lot of anime characters are completely goofy and silly. Hey, and like I said, my biggest problem with Jump Force was how stiff it felt, and it felt like people were reading from a script, but with not injecting the personalities into the characters. So as long as they got that part right, I would be good with it. And as long as
Again,
there was variety from each show. Like, I wouldn't want one show to dominate the whole thing.
it's kind of a, as I said, it does feel like a cop out, but I would love to see all the characters together, and if they get the personalities right, this is a very character focused thing. So it would be, if they play off well off of each other, it would work, I think.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. All right, so my last two honorable mentions.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so Psyche K and Haven't You Heard I'm Sakamoto.
Okay.
Look, I know Psyche can read minds, but to me, him interacting with Sakamoto would be one of the craziest things ever. Primarily just because Sakamoto is seemingly perfect with everything he does, and Psyche would try and he would try and make sure to an extent that that Sakamoto left him alone, but at the same time he'd be thinking he might be my most powerful enemy. But I think this is one of the few times I feel like Sakamoto would win. Like, Sakamoto would find a way to, I guess, make Psyche a little bit of a nicer person. Maybe they go out for coffee jelly at some point since they're friends. Both shows have a lot of similar characters. Like, there's the bully characters who end up being nicer. There's the spoiled pretty girl. There's just a whole variety of similar characters they can do. Plus, we could do Sakamoto versus Teruhashi, and Teruhashi would be destroyed like she deserves to be. But just the characters in the shows, in all seriousness, are similar enough that the styles could work off each other.
I agree to that. I could also see, because Sakamoto has the personality that I think even Psyche might like him. They're not like, he's not pushy about being friends with him. So it would be one of those things. He's like, they would be friends in the end.
Yeah, yeah, basically something like that. It could work. But like I said with Chunibyo, I'm not necessarily dying for any Psyche K content, new Psyche K content. But with this, I'd be willing to let it slide.
All right.
And last honorable mention I have, this one is a little bit of a weird one, and I know you've seen a couple of episodes with this with me, but I want to get your opinion. Daily Lives of High School Boys and Pokemon.
You'll need to explain how you want it to go.
Okay, so I guess on one side of things, Daily Lives High School Boys, they're all kind of have active imaginations with everything. Like, the first episode shows the whole town being blown up by giant robots, and they have to charge in and fight, only for the main character to go, guys, none of this is real. Stop it. It would be kind of nice to see them go like, oh, we actually do have the power to stop these sort of things. And the humor would work. Not to mention, my kind of thing is, neither of us were the biggest fans of Pokemon Sun and Moon because, like, just Ash and the whole school setting and everything. I feel like this would kind of be the perfect way of doing things because it's not a whole lot of, it's not even necessarily school based. It's just more of the people you interact with and everything. And I feel like the characters from daily lives are a lot funnier than some of the characters in Pokemon because they're kind of all over the place. Asen, I feel like most people even agree with that. It would just be kind of a nice thing to see them in a school setting. Not to mention the Pokemon movie where Ash had nightmare that he was in school. So I kind of want to see him have a meltdown over that.
Okay, okay.
Like I said, it's a weird one, which is why it's an honorable mention. But I just thought it'd be kind of unique and goofy. Plus, a lot of the characters in daily lives really like animals. Like they're like a lot of them. One of them like rescued a dog one episode. I'm pretty sure. So that it could lead to some heartwarming stuff.
Okay, yeah, especially if it's like a one episode, I could almost see it be like it. It ends with them zooming out, and they've got either, I guess now it'd be the Switch, but I was thinking like the DS, and it
Yeah.
zooms out. It's them. They've been playing the game sitting next to each other the entire time.
Yeah, it's just like wait, it's just like hey, you gonna trade me that? No, no. Oh, this is our, and one of the characters was like, guys, it's can we please just go back to the actual show? And they're like, no, little side note, a school based comedy like Daily Lives of High School Boys, that's probably my favorite, would be a perfect setting for game characters and stuff, and just giving them different personalities, kind of like that kind of like any show that gets a gag series spin-off like the Rock Lee show or Attack on Titan. It would be perfect for that, but we've been over that, so I'm ready to move on.
All right. So do you want me to do my last one, or are you going to do your last ones?
You do your last one. I've been talking a lot.
All right. So this one is kind of a weird one. We've both seen one of these animes and then part of the other one,
Okay.
and that's One Punch Man. And haven't you heard I'm Sakamoto?
I already agree with it.
Just imagine Sakamoto playing like the fake villain kind of. I could see him almost doing it. He's doing it, trying to make One Punch Man happy, and One Punch Man just he either can't land the punch or something always goes wrong and it doesn't actually land as a One Punch Man punch.
I would be completely okay with that. Not to mention, Genos would be all like, man, what Genos deep down would want to learn under Sakamoto's wing, and Sakamoto would be like, I'm just acting like me. I'm like, and deep down, I'd be like, you know something. You know, I don't know how you're perfect, but you know something. But it could work. It could work. I don't know. Like I said, it's a crossover, not a full blown series, so I don't feel like the joke would get too old. Well, not to mention just Sakamoto going up against some of the stranger characters of One Punch Man. Despite the fact that I feel like you and I were not huge on One Punch Man when we first watched it.
No, and I will admit this idea came from a Watch Mojo list I think they made a while back. It, but it was so perfect in the sound of just the way the characters are, where especially the two main Sakamoto and One Punch Man, I just while they may not play off of each other very well, their powers would be hilarious to watch.
Yeah, and Sakamoto would have a very easy time frustrating some of the other heroes and villains, but he's perfect, so what do you expect? But yeah, I guess I can agree with that.
All right, and your final one?
Beelzebub and Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay.
Okay, both shows are about delinquents and demons and all this other sorts of stuff. The main difference being Yu Yu Hakusho focuses more on the spirit world and all this other sorts of stuff. It goes into a little more depth. Beelzebub, and not only that, but they deal with their actual powers. Beelzebub, for a good majority of the series, powers aren't really mentioned all that often. There are other demons, but a lot of the fights have to deal with like martial arts or wrestling moves or clearly just beating the crap out of each other. It'd be a nice way to see, but like one of the biggest problems I have with Beelzebub was its ending. And it'd be nice to see them actually like go into a little more depth when it go into the demon world, the spirit world, all this other sorts of stuff. Not to mention some of the side characters from Beelzebub would really play off. Like, for example, we were met no Himikawa in Beelzebub with his pompadour, and Kurosawa. I'm thinking that's his name.
Kazuma.
Hmm.
It's Kazuma Kuwabara.
There we go. Perfect. It's him. And he and Himikawa could have a fight over their pompadours, and then realize, no, let's work together. Let's work together for this thing. And it would just be a really cool way of just kind of working with things. Not to mention another kind of interaction I want is between Hiei and Natsume, because Hiei takes everything really seriously really early on, and Natsume's kind of just a goofball, and he's just be like, yeah, man, just keep doing what you do. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's fight with us. Don't come up short. And the characters could frustrate each other enough, but they could still find ways of being friends. It could work.
I can see it slowly almost evolving into pretty much how Beelzebub was, where all the characters that were pretty much enemies at the start at different points, and then they all come together to support the baby demon.
Yeah, basically that. I thought about saying Beelzebub and Zatspel, but the only reason I'd say is because it's two guys fighting with small children, and both Kyo and Oga look incredibly similar, like incredibly freakily similar. But I thought this worked out better. Plus, since Yu Yu Hakusho is getting its live action show at some point, it'd be a nice way to get people kind of interested in talking about the franchise sometime down the line. And with Beelzebub needing a remake at some point, but we talked about that, it would be a good thing to do for both shows. Plus, it'd make one hell of a video game.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, but I'll sign up for this one. I think the characters, from what I've seen, again, I haven't seen either anime all the way through. I've seen the first part of Yu Yu Hakusho, and then the episodes here and there of Beelzebub. Pretty much when you were watching is when I watched.
Yeah, basically.
So they could play off each other really. It'd be really stupid, I think, but really hilarious.
Yeah, it's just the right amount of stupid. I think that's kind of what I'm going for. But they're also similar enough that it could work.
Yeah, because they have some serious moments in between, so it would be interesting.
Yeah. But do we have anything else, or are we good to close out?
I think we're good to close out.
Alright, so ladies, gentlemen, and others, what crossovers do you want to see in anime? Any of the ones that we talked about, any shows that we didn't talk about, or just shows that you would flip on our part, or just something completely different? Just let us know, and there's not a whole lot more to say. Hey, I mean, the only flip to this video would be crossovers we don't want to see, or crossovers with non-anime shows, but I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah, if you want to see crossovers where anime characters go live action for this, or the characters from the other show go into the anime, let us know. We can work on that. But yeah,
I already have one in my head actually. So, but we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, and we probably won't do a list of crossovers we don't want. That's just hard to do. That's
so much harder to do. It'd be like saying shows we don't want live action movies of. That's a lot of them, because a lot of live action anime movies are bad. Mm-hmm. And I guess another one would be, what are crossovers you want us to do with other people, like other channels? Mm-hmm. Not that we could ever get them. They would look at us and be like, no, go away. But it's still nice to think about. But just let us know. Anything else you want to say before we shut it down?
I think that's it for today.
Alright, so take care of yourselves, take care of each other, be good to each other, but most importantly, be good to us. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you've been listening to the Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.